Last week we talked about how do you win in discipleship? And we said it's not about arriving somewhere, it's about moving to the right. And what we introduced you to in that was that discipleship card that we have pretty ubiquitously all over the church and all over our webpage. So I was taught in seminary the worst thing you can do to somebody is to tell them they need to do something but not tell them how. So we're going to walk you through how on our website. If you will follow with me, we're going to start with just going onto our website, which is fumcubacity.com. When you get to our website, I want you to go to Growing and to Discipleship Resources. When you hit Discipleship Resources, the first thing is about YouVersion, which we love. It's one of the ways you can go online, and if you want to, you can even join one of the devotionals there. And if you share with one of the pastors or make us your friend, or with your person, they can also know where you're reading and what you've finished and how you're moving on. We have people who do that, and we get to see all the time how they're growing in Christ and what they're choosing to follow for a devotional. The next thing is, it gives you ideas down here about your discipleship card. As you go down to the discipleship card point, you're going to see the discipleship card itself, which you can fill out online. And that will also tell us where you are and help us encourage you on to love and good works. But the part I want you to go to next is this one where it says, see more about our discipleship plan. When you click on that, it's going to bring up this awesome little parable about dogs and how Jesus always used parables. Well, we have a parable for using animals for how we grow and how we mature and how we never finish growing. So this is just kind of an introduction to that. It's a fun little thing, but if you're an all business kind of person, you can skip this and move on to the next step. The next step is small groups. Which Bible studies help you in each area? So these columns, you'll notice, match the columns above. So if you're exploring, beginning, growing, or maturing, in any one of these areas, you know which area you're trying to grow in, which discipleship area you're trying to grow in, which small group or Bible study would help you in that area. And then with each of these areas, each of these columns in that discipleship card, there are 4 columns, 6 steps in each column. It gives you right next to these, which are little videos about that step, what you do if you're exploring, in this case, each of these areas. So any of these 6 will have a spot over here that you can choose. Let's say I want to know about worship, but I'm really only exploring. I don't really want to take any major steps or commitments yet. Not a problem. You click on download and it will give you a PDF file that has all of the things we have thought of that might be one next step. We don't want you to choose all of these. We want you to pick one, and when you've picked one, we want you to choose just that one for a whole week. Just try that. And when you work on that, and when you choose that one, you don't have to worry about the rest of the page. Now, if you want to print out the page, you can, just to see what all your options are. Or you can just choose one and say, that's my one for this week. If you choose one of these for every week, imagine how much you would grow just choosing one thing to work on. Maybe you don't like one of these. That's okay too. I don't like all of them either, but it may be, if that's not what God is calling you to do, you find something else. Now, there are 4 columns. There are 4 places that have each of these 6 things. This is the exploring one, but there's also one for beginning steps, one for growing steps, one for maturing steps, and each of these has all 6 areas and shows you which column you're in right next to it. So let's say you're trying a life open to Jesus, but you feel like you're really maturing in that. We still have ideas for you. And each of these gives you an option of how to grow. Now, I don't want you to take from this that you have to go through this and do everything you see on the screen, because that is overwhelming and frankly not doable. The reason there's lots of options is to give you lots of ways to grow, and some may apply to you right now and some may not. But you now have 24 places you can go to say, how can I take my next step for Jesus? So my encouragement to you is, let's say you try one of these a week and you take a couple of weeks off for vacation because, we all do, right? Then you still have 50 things you're going to work on in your discipleship and growing closer to Jesus in the next year. Wouldn't that be awesome if you had 50 things you'd grown on last year? So that's our prayer for you. Our challenge for you, our encouragement to you is to choose one thing in the area of the discipleship card you're working on, and that's our discipleship plan for you. That's our hope for you, and we are praying that God will draw you closer to Him and show you which of those steps He might take next with you. God bless.